Well, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm out in the Ford Capri SA from 1989. I realised there are a few small jobs which I've been meaning to do for a very long time, so I thought I'd finally get around to doing them and pop them all together and make them into a small video for you. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get going. Now, this rear reflector on the bumper here has been broken for certainly as long as I remember, possibly as long as I've been alive. So I thought I'd do something about that, and luckily on eBay a new one, in fact a pair, popped up for $35, so I went ahead and bought them, and now I'm going to use the screwdriver and I'm just going to change it. So hopefully this should be a nice, easy and quick job. Just got one self-tapping screw. Pops out. And the new one screws straight in. Brilliant. Under the bonnet we have the old catch here. It's fine, I'm not going to change the catch itself because I don't want to risk misaligning something when the little clip goes down, but you can see the broken spring here, and so that's what I'll be replacing. I've got an entire new clip here which is rather rustier than the old one, but that doesn't matter because I'm not going to be fitting that. I'm just going to use the spring. So I'll try and extricate the spring now and pop it on the new one, and I'm sure that'll be a very quick job indeed. One spring removed. So that's yet another quick job done. Unfortunately I managed to scratch that, but I'm sure that'll tarnish again as it was before. So there we are, one working bonnet catch. Easy peasy. The next problem is of course inside the car with the glove box, which as you can see is missing the handle. So the way we get it open is with this old bit of broken windscreen wiper, and that sticks in there. There's a little gap in here in which the wiper blade can be placed, and then pulling forward opens the glove box. And as you can see, that's how it's been used for the past 20 years or so. So I think to replace the handle, I can see it's held in by a little pin which has springs on either side. So I'll see if I can get to that. We'll probably have to take off definitely this one, but probably also the top of the glove box inside as well. So I'll take those screws out and we'll see where we're left. Alright, well after a bit more faffing around with screws, I discovered that you can get the glove box to lower itself a bit more by pressing in these little tabs. There's one on either side and they're quite tough, so you have to manage to press them both in at once and then pull it down, and it does lower itself. So I should be able to just remove the inner casing now because I've taken all the screws out. That needs to come in. I thought I'd taken the screws out, but there are 3 more along here. With those last 3 screws, the entire glove box falls apart, and of course this is the bit we need, and you can see just here we need to remove that central little pin and probably change that spring because it's very rusty, just to put the handle on. So I'll take that inside and we'll give that a go now. Well, I've brought the glove box inside just because it's much easier to film in here. Here is the new handle. That's where it came from, in case you need one. It's a very common part, and this is supposedly reinforced, this new one, so it shouldn't break again. It seems to be just an incredibly common problem on all these old glove boxes, especially in Fords. So the pin is not at all securely held in. In fact, it's even more loose than I expected. I can just push it out like that and remove it with my fingers. But I'll use the pliers anyway. Ping, that comes out, mustn't lose that. Put that there, so then that comes right. I eventually managed to get it in correctly. So the pin runs through the centre of the hole here. The clip sticks up at a right angle to the handle itself, and the spring here goes on both sides of the back, and then you can just slide that in like that. The little two ears of the spring need to go above the little lugs on there, and then the whole thing slots in like that, and the handle should, when you hold it in, because you can't really hold it in when it's not in part of the car, should work like that. And I'll fix the pin in now. I may have to give it a few taps with the hammer because I noticed the holes on the new handle weren't quite as well aligned as they would have been on an original, but that's fine. That's what you get with replacement parts. I'll just get that pin in now. So it took quite a few goes with the toffee hammer, but I did eventually manage to get it back in. And as you can see, the handle now works very nicely. It rubs slightly, but that has to be expected, and it looks better in person than it does on camera. The colour is a better match, and the texture is not perfect, but it doesn't matter because we have a working glove box handle for the first time in about 20 years. So I'm going to call that a great success and put it back together. Well, there we are. Finally, the first time that glove box handle has worked properly in many years. And as an added bonus, I can throw away this hideous piece of old wiper blade which has been bothering me for years. So, on to the next job. Final job I want to do on the car today involves this little front grille slat thingy. As you can see, it's been rather badly painted when we had the car resprayed. It's got undercoat there, top coat there, and some original black left. And it's held on with these little 3 sort of nut bolt things along here, one of which has already snapped off. So I'm going to use this oddly shaped 9-10mm spanner, actually that end, sorry, and try and get them out, which is easier said than done. Well, I've finally got it just about off. I still have to do this last one up there, but that one snapped off beforehand, so I'll take that off and glue it back on. I should have clarified earlier that the reason that I can't use my normal ratchet, it doesn't fit underneath the little blade and the bodywork, and I don't want to push it in case it scratches anything. I did look for a ring spanner, which would have been more helpful. However, I don't have a 9mm one, or one which fits at all actually, because most of my tools are Imperial. But now I've got this off, I can remove that final one, take it inside and give it a good painting. I've got it off completely now, and the car was wearing this nice bit of rag here to stop it getting cold, and also to stop the spanner scratching the beautiful red paintwork. here is the newly painted little grille piece that'll go in there like that. I gave it 3 top coats and 1 primer, so it's about ready. It's nice and shiny, and I've let it dry for a couple of days. So I will get out the spanner and the little bolts which came off and pop it back on now. So there we are, it's all finally fitted, and it looks so much better than it did before. Unfortunately, it rather shows off that the bumper doesn't quite fit right, but that's probably a project for a future video. So I think that is a job well done, and we can treat ourselves to a nice cup of tea. So that's about it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed this video where I've just been finishing off the car in little ways, but nonetheless, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, and ta-ta for now.